Happy holidays, everyone. Perhaps one of the biggest controversies in the Arkham community in recent memory is UnderTheMayo's video on why he doesn't like Arkham Knight. You might be thinking, who cares? People talk about how they don't like Arkham Knight all the time. But this was different. Why? I think there were a few reasons, but the biggest was that this video, in many instances, shed unfair light upon Arkham Knight and repeated countless criticisms that the internet as a whole sort of moved on from. I don't intend to jump on the dogpile, however, instead taking a retrospective look at where Mayo's video went wrong, why the video got the reception it did, and try to, in as unbiased a manner as possible, see where Mayo might have been right. But first, who is UnderTheMayo? UnderTheMayo is a large creator in the independent review space who got his first big break when covering the Doom games. Not all of his videos are reviews, but I'd say the ones that get him the most attention are his reviews of games, though not all of that attention is good. Rather infamously, he has an Ultra Kill review where he found the balancing poor, saying that because the starting weapon was too good, he never felt the need to use anything else. This is a huge simplification, mind you, but the point is that I would say most know him because of one or two controversial videos that got signal boosted by reaction after reaction, not unlike what I'm doing now to his 2024 review of Batman Arkham Knight. During 2024, Mayo was taking considerably more time for his professional life in terms of quality assurance consulting for games and other opportunities within the industry. Because of this, he wanted to focus on replaying some shorter games that he had missed, which led to Mayo playing the Arkham games in order and making shorter reviews chronicling his thoughts. I'll bring up these video points as they become relevant, but the necessary context for now is that Mayo enjoyed both Arkham Asylum and City, but did not finish Asylum because he got bored in spite of enjoying the gameplay. Granted, he stopped before Killer Croc, so pretty far into the game, but still. He also states that he is not a Batman fan, and thus doesn't know what most of the Easter eggs mean. Lastly, those videos showcase a deep understanding of the game's mechanics. His footage doesn't always show that, but the way he describes his experience with the combat, as well as the ups and downs of the systems at play, shows that he paid attention. Without further ado, let's move on to his Arkham Knight video. Mayo starts this video on the offense, explaining how he doesn't want to make this video, and that he was shocked by how bad he found Arkham Knight to be. Mayo starts with the Batmobile, something I think many would struggle to defend, but his hyperbolic way of saying that it is half the game led many to actually cite me in response, specifically my claim that it is roughly only 20% or a fifth of the game. Flattery aside, a particular tool we will need to use when analyzing this video is what I like to call criticism panning. Like panning for gold, we'll need to sift through the other context clues in the video, filter the hyperbole, the minor incorrect statements, and the vitriol to find the root criticism. In this case, once we strip away the hyperbole and likely performative anger, we can see that the root criticism is that the Batmobile is overused, and I can't help but agree with that. Sure, it's not half the game, but a fifth of the game is still a tad much for me. It's also worth noting that Mayo seems to have engaged with side quests while playing the game, and I think it's reasonable for those frustrations to compound when things like Firefly, the Riddler, and 2 of the 4 militia-related missions are Batmobile-related. His next criticism is in regards to the combat, stating that there are too many things on screen, specifically in regards to environmental objects, and yeah, I think I would agree with most people who say that this is a skill issue. For one, despite him saying this.
And why does the combat feel slower compared to Arkham City? Am I imagining things?
I think Knight actually is faster than City, and when it comes to his comments about things being too cluttered, I can empathize with that because Arkham Knight, ignoring combat indicators for a moment, has more general texture to its aesthetic, not counting the heavy post-processing. It also makes sense that he finds combat too visually cluttered when his Arkham City playthrough was on hard mode, which disabled the counter icons. I agree Knight presents a lot more enemies and a lot faster, but this is because the game assumes you played the prior games, and Mayo did. So what's the problem? I'm sure you'll notice I'm criticism panning again, so I'd like to take a moment to answer a question you've likely asked, which is, why is it the viewer's job to figure out what a professional critic means when he criticizes something? This is a valid criticism of Mayo, and frankly of a lot of reviews. I too have been guilty of it before. Review or not, when you criticize something on a channel that is known for reviews, there is a certain standard you need to meet. This video wouldn't have gotten anything close to the amount of backlash it did had Mayo been a channel with 100 subscribers, or even a 50,000 subscriber channel that mostly focused on Let's Plays, because there isn't the same presumption that this channel will be presenting thoughtful critique. Now, Mayo's reputation isn't exactly his fault, especially when he has posted more casual videos like this before, but it is certainly Mayo's responsibility. If we head to the comment river to pan for criticisms, we can see plenty of indicators that people had a problem with this video because of the channel's surrounding context. This is evident by the amount of comments and even response videos calling UnderTheMayo's video a review. Mayo never said it was a review, and personally, I didn't think it was all that implied, but the reality is, that's how a majority of people saw it, and because of how Mayo communicated that video. We then get some general criticisms of Arkham Knight's gameplay, specifically its use of gadgets or lack thereof in some instances. I think a lot of Mayo's problems come from the fact that he clearly does not consider the Batmobile to be a gadget. The way most Arkham games are laid out is as such. Enter a location, find a gadget in that location, make use of it in different contexts, repeat. Many of these instances in Arkham Knight revolve around the car, because it's a gadget. The beginning sees us using the car, then a tank tutorial, and then we get platforming with the car, and then some tutorialization on the winch. Much of Ace Chemicals, where I believe we see the largest portion of Batmobile, is a big test of our knowledge of this new multifaceted gadget. If viewing the car as a gadget, then Ace Chemicals as a legacy dungeon follows suit. If we don't view the car as a gadget, then it's not only a massive step away from a familiar gameplay loop, but it's a boring one, because he doesn't like the car. The final criticism from Mayo in this video is saying the game has too much, as he would call it, Batman porn.
It feels like Batman porn.
Now, for as much as I get this criticism, well, I really don't. He alludes to it being a tone issue, but the only massive instance of fan service is when upgrading Batman's suit, which he describes as being just there so fanboys can squeal and scream about how badass Batman's gear is, and like, yeah, but as one of those squealing fanboys, it's kind of fucking awesome. Like, I think this ultimately comes down to Mayo just not being a big Batman fan, but another thing he mentions in this segment is in regards to the tutorialization of Batman's new gear, while a hostage is needing rescue. I actually think, again, this is a valid criticism. Sure, it's completely optional, but I'm not sure why these tutorials show up right now. It could easily show up after the hostage is saved, which, by the way, is the tutorial for the Fear multi-takedown. So pacing-wise, it slows down the gameplay for not great reasons, and it's not even that necessary. At this moment, Mayo seems to be annoyed that this takes precedence over the current threat, and for as much as it is a minor issue, I still think it's valid. The rest of the video repeats the sentiment that he didn't enjoy it, and mentioned that he tapped out around the Harley Quinn section. I like to think he posted this video and thought nothing of the shitstorm heading his way, and now we can get into the consequences of this video, which are the countless responses. To say Mayo was hit with a carpet bomb of responses is the understatement of the century. Many of these responses also dwarfed his initial review in both length and exposure, meaning that these responses controlled the narrative. This is where my sympathy for Mayo comes from, because a lot of these responses were, in my opinion, made with the intention of dunking instead of debunking. I won't name any names, specifically because I don't want to start any drama, but I think it's interesting that almost every reaction called his video a review, despite the word review never being used in Mayo's video. And when someone said that it felt like more of a rage quit video in the comments, he clarified that's exactly what it was. Another thing that made many responses feel just as vitriolic as the original video was how many of them led with describing Mayo as someone with bad opinions. It's hard to see a response as being in good faith when it immediately starts with an attack, and postures the subject as being comically wrong as though it's a character trait alongside having dark hair. This isn't to say the response was unjustified. I think these days, after many YouTubers, myself included, spent time trying to dig Arkham Knight's reputation out of the gutter, it makes sense that the reflex to a video that more or less echoes previous criticisms is to be met with a snide groan. But then there's the fact that it's what people wanted to see. We can't pretend as though negativity doesn't sell, and when you have someone like Mayo who was perceived as being so wrong in the video that it was considered rage bait, you can get away with making a video dunking on him without doing much research or even trying to properly debunk his claims past a varnishing lol skill issue, and you'd be sure it would perform well and earn you favor in the community. These guys have also been starving for the last 10 years content-wise, so anything new to talk about is a fucking oasis in the Sahara. However, and maybe I'm on a high horse here, but I think when we approach a response with the same vitriol that the original video had, we stoop down to the level of the person we intend to criticize and end up looking no better. I know the instant reaction is to respond with what you are given, but I think it's more productive to approach a response with more than "bro did not cook" levels of rebuttal. I think especially given how en masse the response was, I was starting to feel really bad for the guy. I mean, shit, I think every YouTuber on this platform is guilty of making a bad video every now and then. But I think what cemented people's stance towards Mayo was the most important response: his own. UnderTheMayo eventually came back with his own response to his Arkham Knight review, attempting to clarify a few things, and of course, doing it with the same sass that the original video had. I won't go over this in the same depth as the original video, but I think it's worth noting that his clarification makes a decent amount of sense. As he mentioned, the percentage of the Batmobile doesn't matter, because he still felt like it was too much. Valid. Then he mentions the overindulgence in fan service again, which, valid I guess, but I want to focus on the ending sentiment about rage bait, because many people labeled the original video as such.
My Arkham Knight video is not rage bait, but it is a video that causes rage. There is a difference.
I understand wanting to call something rage bait. Even the other day, I was watching a video that, I swear to God, felt like it was made with the sole purpose of annoying me personally. But the reality is, rage bait isn't very effective in terms of generating discussion or revenue. I bring up revenue because that was another part of the assumption, that this video was meant to be negative in order to make money, and I heavily disagree with that. Let's tackle money first. I don't think UnderTheMayo is that concerned with cash. My evidence? Look at the guy's channel. I mean, as someone who is a full-time YouTuber, my business-oriented mind shits bricks looking at his channel. It's all over the place. We have reviews, tutorials, essays, shitposts. This may as well be poison to the algorithm. The one argument you could make that there was monetary motivation here is that the video is just over 8 minutes, the mark needed to place mid-roll ads, but even then, most of his videos are 15 minutes or more, and Mayo has consistently put out videos below the 8-minute mark when judging by the topic. He could have easily stretched it. Sure, he made the video to get views, but so did everyone who made responses, and so am I by making this video, and so is the kid posting bottle flip videos with 2 subscribers. If we don't want people to see our videos, we wouldn't post it. If I don't want my voice to be heard, I'm not gonna run into the woods where no one can hear me, I'll just not speak. With that squared away, let's talk about rage bait. I think generally rage bait is a term used so flippantly that it kind of applies to anything. But at its core, to me, I think it's a comment that signifies a refusal to engage with someone because the person being baited feels as though the poster's effort is not to have a productive discussion. The idea of rage bait to me has always been synonymous with low-effort trolling, and that just doesn't apply here. Granted, to portray Mayo's original video as genuine makes him look significantly worse, but that is the truth. This isn't to say you aren't valid for being upset with the video, but that it's not exactly realistic to assume it was made with the sole purpose of annoying people. I think ultimately, Mayo made a bad video, if not evident through the points made, then through the reaction to that video. At best, the angry response is indicative of a failure to present points clearly, and at worst, the response is indicative of him not understanding the game. Honestly, I kind of feel bad for Mayo, because I've been in this position before, though to a lesser extent. As someone who also reviews games, I've put out plenty of reviews where I've angered the audience because of something I've said or an opinion I hold. It's not uncommon, no matter who the critic is, that they are always going to have spots where they diverge from public opinion. I often was labeled as a contrarian in my early career because of videos I've made, and the reality is, those are just the ones that get the most attention. I've made tons of great videos, but the ones I'm always reminded of are the 2 or 3 shitty videos that I've made. Sure, I've never received the same backlash Mayo did, but I'm sure there will be a day where I do. Most of the responses to his video was simply blown out of proportion. A combination of reliable engagement, easily debunkable and dunkable statements, and the fact that Mayo already has a reputation that precedes him meant that this response was perhaps almost inevitable. When I first saw his review, my thoughts were, oh, someone doesn't like Arkham Knight. Yeah, so do a million other fucking people, join the club. But if I had this channel when that video released, I too would probably make a video responding to him. Hell, this video kind of is a response in and of itself, even if with far more hindsight. In the years since his review, Mayo has kept things moving as usual on the channel, though I did notice he makes more of an effort to clarify when something is an actual review in the title, showing that he too was doing some criticism panning. While I think his claims that he finds the whole interaction fun are a bit questionable given how he still to this day is responding to comments on that video, it's clear that Mayo wasn't going to let the Arkham community get him down, which is nice to see. As much as I feel bad for Mayo's situation in regards to Doom Eternal, Ultra Kill, and now Arkham, it at least gives him a lot of experience in PR crisis management. So now, I want to ask you guys, do you think the response to UnderTheMayo was just? Was it overblown? Did the Arkham community not push back hard enough? Why or why not? I think there's a real opportunity to reflect on this drama and perhaps come out of it with something positive, or even better, a new perspective on one of our favorite games. Maybe we can reflect on this and remind ourselves that sometimes people just miss, they fuck it up a bit, and it's not because of any malice. Maybe instead of asking, is he stupid, we ask, must we meet this stupidity on equal ground? Thanks for watching everyone, and happy holidays.